Today we'll be working on my first commission piece. This has been requested by my good friend to update it and give it a more modern look. Obviously, by looking at it, it's an ugly 80s style glass and brass, which I've always disliked, and apparently everyone out there is finally catching up to my personal opinion. So we're going to transform this piece to something that she will love, and it'll fit well within her home decor. And let's get started.
Hi, my name is Packy, creator of Pack Rat's Shack. I upcycle furniture, build out of pallet wood, finish interior spaces, and have a vendor booth for my creations. Welcome to my world.
So obviously I will be cleaning it with Simple Green. It's a good degreaser and will help prep the piece so that it can accept the paint solidly. I'll be giving it a freshwater rinse, but I'm going to be taking these doors off and pitching them.
There were many holes left from my dismantling of the unit. Also, the front top edge of each shelf had an unsightly groove over the entire length of the shelf. I wanted this to be a smooth surface all the way to the front edge. I filled all of these areas with Minwax stainable paintable wood filler.
Okay, it's been enough time for the wood filler to dry. I'm going to go ahead and sand that smooth. And then the next thing would be, I want to plan on the shelves that I'm going to build for this, probably 2 in the upper portion and 1 below. So I'm going to get started with just getting this prepped for painting stuff.
And of course, after sanding, everything needs to be cleaned up and wiped down yet again. I try to keep my workspace clean. It really does help with the end result of having a nice finish. So here I am deciding how I want to build the shelves. I check measurements of the unit to make sure it is consistent in the top and bottom areas. Here I'm trying to sketch out my plan. Now I am back from the garage with the first piece I'm calling my left side rail. I know that I cannot make my shelves tight or else there'll be no way of pivoting them within the triangle to set them in place after they're built. After I see that this rail is right, the correct angles, and there's enough space for some movement, I turn it over and check it on the right side to make sure I can use the same dimensions for my right side rails. Then I see everything's going to work well, so I know I need to make 6 rails altogether. Wow guys, it's finally time to paint. This piece is just a faux imitation wood laminate. There's no tannin to worry about for bleed through from a real wood. I really don't see the point in taking time to prime everything. I am going to use an all-surface enamel paint from Sherwin-Williams. The color is in Roycroft Pewter. It's a dark gray. I really am wanting a dark gray color to show through in the end result after I distress the piece back. Also, I am playing with adding and creating some texture to this piece. Since I don't have sea spray, I am going to try some plaster powder. I add this to the paint in order to thicken it up. I'm using different brush strokes in different directions, and I'm also doing a tapping motion to try to add some height to the paint. I want this same Roycroft Pewter to be the base coat on the shelves as well, but I do not want the texture that I created. So I'm using paint straight out of the can that hasn't been mixed with a thickening agent, and I'm using a smooth brush instead of a rougher chalk paint brush. After I get the paint on the piece, then I move from one side to the other in a continuous motion to get it as smooth as possible. Wow, could I be any more enthused? Onward bound to the decorative design element. This wallpaper that I have chosen is NuWallpaper in breezy gray. I found it on Amazon. It is a peel and stick. I provided this and 3 other options to my friend. This one is the one that she chose. I like this particular wallpaper because it had a fade to the pattern, which goes along with the whole shabby chic style we're shooting for here. Okay, it's time for a full disclosure moment. Here I had already cut the piece to length for the upper taller section, and I made a mistake and made it 1 inch too short. Therefore, I just transitioned it into the lower piece and cut it to length for that section. This particular wallpaper did not have any line grid on the back, so I'm using a large square to make my cut lines while using the factory edge of the paper as my straight line to go off of. This paper did stretch a bit while I was installing it, so I just used a X-Acto knife to trim off any edges so that no paper would wrap around the corners. Other than that, this paper was very easy to install. It stuck very well to the particle board. It did have a little bit of a problem sticking to the edges that I had already painted. I'm so glad that I didn't paint the entire surface where the wallpaper was going. I did try to use a wallpaper roller to get it to stick down more on those edges, but in the end I ended up just gluing some of those edges for a solid stick. All right, everybody, stand by. It's another full disclosure moment provided by Packy. I will start out with forewarning that I have recording errors through the next two sections. And now that we're moving on to the top color of this piece, I know I'm going to be doing two coats. I'm using Krylon Chalky Finish in the white right off the shelf. And on the first day, I paint the unit and then I whitewash one side of the three shelves that I had built. My plan is to then walk away the second day, come in and paint and do the second side of those same shelves and also incorporate the built-in shelves. So the error is on the first day, my storage device was full and stopped recording before I got to the whitewashing. So therefore, on the second day, I come back and I'm painting and I had emptied my device. I started recording, it was recording, I verified it, but unbeknownst to me, by the time I got to the piece to start painting it, it had stopped recording. Now, the only difference that you would have seen on recording is that my first coat of the white chalky paint, I was using normal brush strokes, thinking that it would add a third dimension of texture. It did not. It didn't do what I wanted. So on the second coat of the white chalk finish, I went ahead and went back to the dabbing technique. But then you do see me whitewashing the shelves because I had checked my recording device and noticed it was not recording. So basically all it's showing while I'm whitewashing is that every day that I whitewash or every day that I paint the unit, I then use the same brush I had been using and I dab it in water so there's enough moisture, and then I use it to apply the whitewash to the shelves. And I just keep layering on the process and waiting a few minutes and wiping off the excess until I get my desired effect. All right, hello everybody. We're back here to resolve the situation that I had discovered with the shelving location. Previously, when I put the shelves back in and the one ended here, there really was no space for the idea of a modern hanging light fixture. So I got the response back from my friend, which I gave her two options. One was we lowered both shelves 2 inches, which would be about here now. That'd give a little bit more space, but it still would be tight in my eyes. Or we just eliminate this top shelf altogether and I fill in the hole, and then I'll touch up paint and everything, and you won't even be able to tell it's there. But that, with where the shelf is here, is going to look a lot better, and she agreed. So that's where we're going to start from today. And I'm going to go ahead and put it on both sides so the whole hole gets filled for sure, which I can tell is already sticking out the back there. So, and you can tell that it's sticking out from the front here. There's enough left around so that when I sand down, it'll sand flat. I just want to even out around the circle area where it's poking out, because I don't want that to be highlighted after I'm done sanding. Okay, so there's another issue that I was noticing was happening that I want to address now. While I was doing the shelving, you can tell that they didn't turn out the same. This is the difference between the shelves that are floating, that were outside of the unit when I painted them, as opposed to the ones that are inside the unit as I'm painting them. And the difference is, and you wouldn't think it's a big deal, but when they're outside of the unit and you're painting them, you can be going all the way across with your brush strokes. And or since this was a whitewash, when you were using the cloth to wipe back off. When they're stuck inside a unit with the walls, you can't get that same uniform action. So no matter what you do to try to start it and then fade out and then start from the other side, and then you're trying to feather the center in so that you don't see the stopping or starting of brush strokes. This was creating a problem for me to get a uniform look between all the shelves. I'm gonna try to get it a little bit more uniform. Already seems to be looking better. The bottom one's just still looking a little harsh and not like blended very well. You can see the sketchiness. This one is looking softer, so when you're stepping back, it's looking better. Okay, it's been a little while. I'm going to attempt to mess with it a little bit more.
Hello, welcome to Pack Rat's Shack. Shelly, Packy, the owner. No, this is not right. This is getting worse.
Oh my god. Okay.
Hello, we're back, and first thing we're going to address today is the problem that I discovered with the shelving. Okay, I can't come up with words for the life of me today. Brain, you did graduate college, you should be able to think of words. Alright. COVID brain. It never comes back.
Hey all, here are some beginning, middle, and end pictures of the project. Don't forget to hit that like button. If you like the content you saw today, don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button and the bell. All of the products we use will be listed in the description box below. If you have any comments, questions, pointers, don't be afraid to tell us in the comments. We will be posting content weekly, so if you just can't get enough of us, don't worry, there's definitely more of us to come. Have a good one!